Hey everybody, Mr. Gibson here. So for this assignment, you're going to be doing what's called an investigative CER. Now, you're used to CERs being on assessments like quizzes and tests. And in those situations, I'm giving you a CER to ask you to explain a scientific phenomenon that you already know something about, okay, that you already should know the answer to. Now, an investigative CER is a little bit different. In an investigative CER, you may not necessarily know the answer right off the bat. Okay, so for this assignment, I'm asking you a question in a CER that you don't necessarily already know the answer. Instead, you've got to read the Stemscopedia and find the answer and the evidence to support the answer within that body of reading. So you're doing kind of your own investigation. All right, so to begin, it says that you need to open the Stemscopedia, and I would just skim this. I wouldn't necessarily, if you want to go through and read it word for word, you can, but I would just skim the main topics. We got the types of macromolecules, carbs, lipids, proteins, nucleic acids. Here's the elements that are in each one. We've got dehydration, synthesis, and hydrolysis. We've got a more in-depth look at carbs, an in-depth look at lipids, proteins, nucleic acids. And then here, this section here, which you're probably really going to want to focus on today, is all about the importance of sugar and this process called cellular respiration. Okay, cellular respiration is what your CER is about today, and it's this process where we use glucose molecules, sugar molecules, to make energy for our body, which in your body, the form of energy, we call it ATP. Okay, so I would definitely skim this, maybe look at this a little bit deeper. The advanced topics are nice, but you don't have to go into detail there. That's just a little bit of advanced. If you feel like you're ready to dive into some of that stuff, you may not even necessarily need it for your CER today. So once you've skimmed that, you're going to open up this Google Doc, and here's your CER. Here's kind of the scenario. It says if sugar or carbohydrates, those are synonyms, is the main biomolecule needed for cellular respiration to produce ATP or energy for the body to use, how does a person who is on a low-carb diet, meaning they're not taking in any carbs or very low amounts of carbs or sugars, how do they obtain their essential nutrients if they stop eating foods that contain glucose? Okay, so you're going to look through the Stemscopedia to find evidence. The first thing you probably want to do is look for evidence, okay, to the answer to the question. Then develop the correct claim, okay? So your claim will be one full sentence. Your evidence needs to be between 3 and 5, at least. If you want to have more than that, I suppose it's okay, but between 3 and 5 pieces of evidence pulled from the Stemscopedia, not pulled from the internet, pulled from the Stemscopedia. And so you have to cite the page number upon which you found your evidence for this CER, okay? And you can just bullet point those. You can just list those. It's totally fine. Then once you have your evidence, it supports your claim, you need to explain how your evidence supports your claim by writing a reasoning. That needs to be a paragraph, 3 to 5 sentences that supports your claim. To help people out who struggle with what the reasoning should be, I usually tell them for every piece of evidence, you need to have a sentence explaining that piece of evidence in your reasoning. So if you have 4 bullet points of evidence, you need to have a sentence at least for each one of those. So that'd be 4 sentences in your reasoning. That always guarantees that your reasoning is long enough as long as you have enough evidence. Okay? So here is a rubric for how I would grade the CER if this were on your test. So if you want to know how to get a perfect grade on this, look at the 2 column and see what you need to do for your claim, evidence, and reasoning. Okay, my expectations are right there. I've kind of set you up, and I've helped you a little bit by putting some information underneath the claim, evidence, and reasoning. If you need any help, if you're absolutely stuck, cannot find where this information is in the Stemscopedia, or you're not sure what to do, feel free to email me, okay? Good luck, guys.